The arena lights were still blazing when Madison Chock skated toward the boards, tears streaming down her face. Her teammates reached over the railing and pulled her into a group embrace, a wordless comfort after a dream that had slipped away by just 1.43 points. Her partner, Evan Bates, silver medal cold against his chest, had already found the exit. Some heartbreaks are loud. This one was quiet, private, and devastating. They had arrived in Milan as royalty, three-time reigning world champions, freshly crowned team gold medalists. A pair who had spent 4 Olympic cycles pouring everything into the pursuit of a single individual gold medal. Their youth, their years, their love for a sport that demands absolute perfection at the worst possible moments. This was supposed to be their coronation. Chock and Bates had been partners on the ice since 2011, a partnership that outlasted trends, injuries, and the natural erosion that time inflicts on athletes who ask their bodies to do extraordinary things year after year. They had reinvented themselves multiple times over. They had been close before, they had stumbled before. But nothing about the lead-up to Milan suggested anything other than destiny. Their team event performance over the weekend had been breathtaking. 2 programs so polished, so emotionally layered, that they almost single-handedly delivered America its 2nd consecutive Olympic gold in the team competition. The crowd adored them, judges rewarded them, and when the individual competition began Monday night with the rhythm dance, they carried that momentum into the arena like a quiet force of nature. Then came a 2nd-place finish that nobody, not their coaches, not the skating world, not perhaps even themselves, had fully anticipated. They told reporters they were locked in, that the result wouldn't shake them, that their preparation, their mindset, their belief in each other remained unshaken. Whether they truly believed it or were simply refusing to let doubt take root, only they know. Either way, they showed up Wednesday night ready to answer every question with their skating. Skating second to last in the free dance, Chock, 33, and Bates, 36, delivered what can only be described as a masterpiece. Their matador-themed program, she, the fearless matador, he, the powerful bull, pulsed with raw flamenco energy as a thunderous version of Paint It Black, filled every corner of the building. The choreography was meticulously synchronized, their connection palpable from the first note to the last. Every lift, every twizzle, every step sequence carried the weight of everything they had sacrificed to be standing on that ice. In that moment, at these games, the crowd felt it. The building erupted. Their season-best score of 134.67 points lifted their combined total to 224.39. They stepped off the ice and settled into the designated leader chairs, the famous kiss and cry seats that have witnessed so many careers defined in seconds. They held hands. They waited. Their faces wore the particular expression that only elite athletes understand, the look of someone who has done absolutely everything right and is now completely powerless. France's Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Cizeron took the ice. The French pair skated to music from The Whale, a program built on emotional depth, quiet power, and an almost eerie sense of connection between 2 people who had found each other through extraordinary chaos. They moved across the ice with the kind of confidence that comes not from arrogance, but from having already survived the worst. When they finished, the arena held its breath. When the scoreboard flashed 135.64, a combined total of 225.824, Olympic cycles of dreaming dissolved in a single, irreversible moment. "It's definitely a little bittersweet," Chock told reporters in the mix zone, her voice breaking open and then steadying itself. "We really gave it our all. I wouldn't change anything about how we approached each performance, what we delivered. We really gave it our best." She paused, collecting herself with the quiet dignity that has always defined her public presence. And that's what we set out to do coming to these games. We've got a lot to be proud of and a lot to be grateful for. We've had an incredible career, and we've been so well supported by our families, our coaches, by each other, and sometimes that's just how it shakes out. This is history for us, and I wouldn't change anything. Those words, gracious, proud, heartbroken, and entirely without bitterness, captured the essence of a partnership that has given American figure skating some of its finest chapters. There was no finger-pointing, no hint of excuse-making, no shadow of regret over how they performed. Only the clean, aching sadness of someone who gave everything and still came up just short. What made the outcome even more astonishing was the extraordinary story unfolding on the other side of the scoreboard. Fournier, Baudry, and Cizeron are, remarkably, a first-year partnership. In most Olympic cycles, a brand new pairing spending their debut season together would be considered a developmental project, promising, perhaps, but not yet a genuine threat at the Games. These 2 rewrote that assumption entirely. Their pairing was born out of crisis and controversy. Fournier-Baudry had previously competed for Canada alongside Nicolaj Sorensen, her romantic partner off the ice, before his 6-year suspension following sexual assault allegations shattered their competitive future. She publicly stood by him through the fallout. The suspension was later overturned on jurisdictional grounds, but the case remains unresolved, leaving a complicated cloud over her personal life even as she rebuilt her career. She received French citizenship in November, switched her competitive allegiance, and partnered with one of the most decorated ice dancers in the world, a man navigating his own firestorm. Cizeron had won Olympic gold at the 2022 Beijing Games alongside Gabriela Papadakis, one of the great ice dancing partnerships of the modern era. But Papadakis retired and, earlier this year, published a book making serious allegations describing Cizeron as controlling and demanding in ways that left deep marks on her. Cizeron publicly denied the claims and called the book a smear campaign, but the accusations followed him into every arena he entered this season. Together, Fournier, Baudry, and Cizeron became something neither could have been alone in that moment. Two people who had lost almost everything, choosing to rebuild around a shared love for the sport and an unspoken understanding of what it feels like to have your story told by someone else. "We tried to create a bubble," Cizeron said after claiming gold, his voice steady with quiet emotion. "We've been through some incredibly hard moments, but the love we have for each other and for the sport really brought us through. We tried to really focus on enjoying those moments together because they don't last forever, and we didn't want that to be taken away from us." They won the European Championships. They captured 2 Grand Prix titles. Their only prior head-to-head meeting with Chock and Bates at the Grand Prix finals in December had gone decisively to the Americans. Wednesday night in Milan, on the grandest stage the sport offers, they flipped the narrative completely. The bronze medal went to Canada's Piper Gilles and Paul Poirier, 2-time world runners-up, who had spent years knocking on the door of Olympic glory without ever quite walking through it. Their podium moment, the first in 3 Olympic appearances, was both overdue and deeply moving. "Our main focus was to create a moment for ourselves," Gilles said, "and I think we truly did that. We let the judging be the judging. That's all we can do." The Canadian pair had hinted throughout the season that this might be their final competitive chapter, though Wednesday night they weren't ready to make it official. Some endings, it turns out, need time before they can be named. Further down the results sheet, a quieter story was unfolding. Americans Emilia Zingas, 23, and Vadim Kolesnik, 24, competing in their very first Olympic Games, finished a remarkable 5th place, turning heads and planting a firm flag in the ice for the next era of American ice dancing. The torch, when it's finally passed, already has willing hands reaching for it. For Bates, the inevitable question arrived swiftly. Would they try again? Another 4-year cycle. Another shot at the 1.43 points that separated them from history. Would Madison Chock and Evan Bates come back? His answer was immediate, reflexive, the answer of a man whose body and heart had just emptied themselves completely. Not at the moment. Later, at the formal news conference, the edge softened slightly. He wasn't slamming a door, but he wasn't opening one either. "We certainly put all of our efforts into the team event and the individual event," he said quietly. "The aftermath is so immediate right now. It's really hard to say what the career plans will be." Madison Chock and Evan Bates leave Milan carrying silver medals, a team gold, and a legacy so rich it requires no addition to stand among the greatest in their sport's history. Two people who chose each other, year after year, and built something rare and lasting together. But sport, at its most raw and human, is rarely about legacy in the immediate aftermath. It's about that moment, the leader chairs, the held hands, the scoreboard counting down, and 1.43 points standing between a dream and everything else. For now, those 1.43 points are what they carry home. And somewhere in that number lives the full, aching, beautiful truth of what it means to give everything and almost be enough.